Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Town of Lexington Planning Commission meeting. This board is comprised of town residents who are appointed by the town council and serve without pay. This is our monthly regular meeting on Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. The meeting is being broadcast live on the Town of Lexington YouTube channel. Speakers must sign in before 8 a.m. on the sign-in sheet posted at the door. Speakers will be called to the podium off the list collected. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. I am Frank Berry, the chairman of the Town of Lexington Planning Commission. Other Planning Commission members present are?
Good morning, Jarrett Harrelson.
Morning, Roscoe Kaufman.
Good morning, Betsy McCall.
I'm Jamie Fight.
Good morning, Joe Robertson.
Good morning, JT Stevenson.
That's it? All right, let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the changing of the season. Be with this body as we discuss the progress of the town and the changes, and help us to make good, conscious decisions of moving forward. Be with those who are sick, worthy, and distress, and help them through their day. In your most holy name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Let's pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The meeting will now come to order. No deletions to the agenda. Next order of business is approval of the minutes from the March 17th work session and the regular meeting of March 18th.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions, comments? All in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. New business item, impact fee update, phase 2.
Good morning. Thank you for bearing with me as my voice is going. The impact fee ordinance adopted on February 1st, 2020 requires the Planning Commission to conduct a comprehensive review and update of the following at least once every 5 years: the Development Impact Fee Study Report for the Town of Lexington, the Town of Lexington Capital Improvements Plan, the Housing Affordability Analysis in support of a Development Impact Fee Study, and the Development Impact Fee Ordinance. Phase 1 of this update was adopted by Town Council on March 3rd, 2025. The transportation component was deferred until completion of the Local Transportation Improvement Plan 2.0, which is now complete. Attached is Phase 2 of the required updates, which includes the transportation component. And our consultant, Matt Noonkester with City Explained, is here and has a presentation to kind of go over that with you all.
Okay. Come on. Come on up to the podium.
All right. Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, my name is Matt Noonkester. I'm the owner and founding principal of City Explained, Inc. And we were the consultants that were hired to update the study. We updated the last study and we updated the study before that. So it's good to see you all again. Thank you. So do we have the presentation queued up? We're good? Okay. And can I just tell you next to advance? Okay, perfect. All right, so as Jessica had mentioned, there is a formal process to go through in order to update your Development Impact Fee program. So I'm here today to present to you and seek action of a recommendation to move forward to council. So in terms of our agenda for today, I'm just going to quickly set the table in terms of what we're doing and why we're here. Just review with you the requirements from the Act, the state law that we must follow in order to move forward. Quickly show you the documents that were presented to you, and then take any questions, and then move on to next steps. So I'll be pretty quick. I don't want to be too formal here, so if you have a question in your head at that time, just go ahead and ask at that point if you're comfortable with that, Mr. Chairman. Next. Okay, by way of introduction, next. As Jessica had mentioned, there are provisions within the Act that require a review and update every 5 years, just like you would your comprehensive plan, do a review of that document. So, but as was also mentioned, we were here in March of last year. So really, it's not the 5-year clock that has brought us forward here, but it's the fact that the transportation study has been complete, and so we now need to update that portion. Next. And just so you're aware, and so you'll know for next time, when you get to the review period at the end of the ordinance, you'll see that the clock will set again on all 3 impact fee categories 5 years from the effective date of the ordinance that we're considering now. Next. And so we are here to talk about transportation. While we're here, though, we did just do some very light editing, no change in the fees or the conclusions to any of the other chapters, but just so that everything is online and current at the same time. So while we did delay for the transportation study and waiting for that this time, next time all of your impact fees should be back on the same schedule. So they're all being brought forward for you today, but there's been no changes to the other 2 categories. Next. And so then who does this apply to? Because again, this is now your second, and it will be actually kind of your 3rd time, or call it update 2B. So anybody who pulls a building permit before the effective date of this ordinance will still pay the old fees. Anybody then who, next slide, anybody who pulls a permit, next slide. Oh, is a delay on it? Gotcha. Darn fade transition, right? Anybody who comes in afterwards, after the effective date and pulls a building permit will have the new fees. So it's very clear, black and white on what to do there. In terms of requirements of the Act, if you can go to the next slide, please. In terms of what they can be used for, the simple answer here is they need to be used to increase capacity of your system. The thought is that if new growth, new people, new employees and stuff are coming into the town, in order to use impact fees, we have to increase the supply to meet that new demand. So we can't do anything with operations or maintenance or even rehabilitation or replacement of existing facilities. This is to expand infrastructure to keep pace with growth. And you can see what they can't be used for there is very clear. Next. And then again, other provisions within the Act, but I'm really worried about the last 2, which is the comprehensive review and update every 5 years. You're within the window because we were here last year, but we didn't finish the job. So here we are with transportation now ready to finish the job. And then any new projects, so I told you we kind of refreshed everything. We took a fresh look at all projects for all 3 categories for the CIP that was brought forward for you. Next. We are required to bring 4 documents to you, so don't blame me, blame the state law and the thickness of your packet this time, and I apologize for all the reading you had to do, especially the appendix of the justification report. But number 1 is the justification report. Basically, I call it the adult book report. We have to look at your current conditions, what's projected to move forward, and then try to figure out what is the cost to meet those needs in order to get what's called a cost per trip, which I'll go into here in more detail. Once we know what those things are that you need, we have to create a CIP, a capital improvements plan, specific for projects that are eligible for development impact fee funding and makes your life easier for tracking money coming in and money going out, again, under the Act. The Act does require we look at the impacts to affordable housing. It makes the requirement, it's a little silent on all the requirements of how to do that study, but we've just been consistent with what we do in the state of South Carolina as well as what we've done for you before. And then the development impact fee ordinance that's brought forward to you today, we did highlight sort of in yellow things that changed really for updates. And then there's a couple things that we have to wait for, like this concept of a discount rate that I'll talk to you about in just a minute. Those are highlighted in a different color just so we know what kind of changes we're making. Thanks. So in terms of process, we were waiting for the LTIP version 2.0 to be finished. Once it was finished, we were able to work with that hired consultant to create a memorandum. That memorandum then was translated into our report. So I thank them for their efforts and their time and patience with us. But all the documentation is finished. We're now going through the hearing process, starting with you all and then eventually going to council. Okay, so just a very quick highlight of the documents that were in your packet. If you can go to the next slide, please. The first one is the justification report. Again, that's the book report that I call it. It's got the lengthy technical appendix behind it. It's really just documenting what the existing conditions are, future demands that we anticipate, and then how we would solve those demands with projects. In terms of, as I mentioned, we wanted to get everything on the same cycle, so all 3 impact fees are brought back to you in this report: Parks and Recreation, Municipal Facilities and Services, and Transportation. But Transportation is really the big lift that we did this time around. So I'm going to focus on transportation. So when we came to you before, we used a methodology. It's called a consumption-driven approach. Basically, think about it as each new resident or employee comes to Lexington, they just get in the back of the line, and they have a proportionate share like everybody else in the line. Transportation is a little bit different. It's called an improvements-driven approach. There are standards set for how congestion should be handled and traffic flow should happen within the town, and they give letter grades. And so an analysis is done, and once you exceed that letter grade, an improvement is needed to bring you back into conformance with what your standards or your targets are, and then those projects are inventoried and recommended as impact fee projects. So that's sort of what we did in this one, and again, there's a direct tie to your LTIP version 2.0 and that memorandum by their consultant that created the bridge into this document. Next. So it's going to test my eyesight, but in 2019, we have to go back to those numbers. And then now we have 2025. The numbers in all cases went up. It increased. If you look at the cost per trip, you're in the $80 range in 2019, and you're up to the $125 range for 2025. It's just because more improvements have been identified. The cost to make those improvements has gone up over time. But generally speaking, the outcome of this study is that your impact fees do increase, and we can justify why they increase with the analysis that we did. Next. Now, there is the opportunity to apply a discount rate. It's a policy decision within the ordinance, so it has nothing to do with the analysis. It's just sort of a policy decision that gets made. Currently, right now, when I was reviewing the ordinance, I see you have a 0% discount rate. So you charge the maximum allowable that I could justify with the math that we were able to do. And so right now, I'm just assuming until I'm told differently, we're going to continue doing that. So that's sort of where we've set expectations at this point. Next. But if you are curious, if you go to Chapter 5 within the document, there is a table that just gives you theoretical discount rates if you want to review what that would be. You're not locked into those numbers that are there. They were just chosen as an example. But anywhere between 0 and 100% can be applied. And then just in comparison to what you are collecting right now, again, remember that effective date thing. So if somebody comes in for a building permit right now, those numbers on the right are what you're collecting now, and you see the impact fees do go up slightly. It's not as dramatic because only one of the impact fees is really increasing the cost because we've already absorbed the Parks and Recreation and the municipal facility and equipment fees in the last time I was here in March. Next.
Does that,
Yeah.
Quick question, does that fee increase include inflation?
So what we try to end up doing, so in the consumption-driven approach, we do not. So for the 2 impact fee categories, we just kind of figure what it is in today's dollars because we don't know exactly which project and when. With the improvements-driven approach, we do try to factor in an inflation because we know like when that letter grade is going to trip for transportation, so we have a better guess from forecasting. So yes, we did try to put an inflationary number into those costs. And this is another place I want to spotlight for you because this is a significant change from the last time I was here in March of last year. This is your capital improvements plan. And this time around, we wrapped it with a much better story, I think. In previous versions, you just had a table and a list, and there was a little bit of mystery of terms of like what the project was, how it got there, how it's going to be funded, those kind of things. This time around, we've kind of wrapped it again in a story. And we actually have a project sheet, so a 1-page summary of each project. And that's the approach we'd like to move forward from this point going on. And then it's going to be easier to fold it into your annual budgeting process because we have more information for it. It's just more clear, easier to track, those kind of things. So that is probably the biggest change in the documentation, even from March of 25 to now, is in the CIP. Next. And then again, we had to do the housing affordability analysis, again, a requirement of the act. If you go to the next slide is the conclusion. And generally speaking, and I'm telling you what you already know, but costs of housing are going up in Lexington like everywhere else. When you look at the impact or the change of the impact fee, it's not a significant number, but it is an increase, and so every increase matters. But we'd have to bring this to your attention. The state law does not require us to do anything with this except to be information that you have as you make your recommendations. Next. And then the impact fee ordinance itself, and again, the way it's structured, you've had this now since I think it's October of 2019 was the first time I'd come to you. So it's been working pretty well, but this is actually the rules and the requirements. So everything else is going to be a reference document or a resource document. This is actually how you administer the game, so to speak. And so this is how much, of what kind, what time do you collect it, how are refunds or other agreements put in place to maybe put a project in versus paying the fee, those kind of things. All that is in your impact fee ordinance. If you go to the next slide. And so there's really two recommended changes that you see highlighted with the yellow and the other colors throughout the document. One is we just need to make sure we're referencing the correct document now. So you'll notice we add the date at the end of each title now because you are now mature enough in your impact fee system that you're already updating through cycles. So we need to know which document to point to if somebody has a question. So that's the biggest change that we had. We also will have the discount rates and the cost. The unit costs have already been updated because that came out of my study. But if the decision is made to apply a discount rate, we'll have to filter that through the document. So that's flagged for where that applies if we need to do it. Thanks. Okay, so in terms of next steps, if you go to here, as I mentioned, we're here today to have this discussion with you. Jessica had mentioned it's kind of a formal process, so we're hoping to have a recommendation to move forward. Then we'll end up going to council. It is a text amendment at this point because you already have your ordinance in place. So we'd be making text amendments like the ones that you see in the yellow and the, I think it's cyan or turquoise color that's in there. And then you would move forward with an effective date and go from there. So at this point, I couldn't think of anything more fun and sexy than to start your day with impact fee discussions, but I'm here for any questions that you have, and I can stay as long as you want.
Anybody got any questions, comments? How do we go about educating the public? Because when they hear impact fees, they're going to think 100% negativity, which this money is actually used as we grow to make the improvements everybody complains about. Mm-hmm. So how would we go about educating the public for that? What's your thought on that?
I was going to say, I'll tell you a couple of facts that go along with this. I'm not a PR person, but the facts are impact fees are an additional fee on new development only. That helps offset the impacts of them coming into your community and creating new demand for services. So in some ways, the impact fees are maybe slowing down or halting the need for tax increases or things of that nature where everybody would have to pay as part of that improvement. That being said, the biggest rub I do get is if an existing resident decides to build a new house within the community that is considered a new impact, so they would pay an impact fee because somebody else is going to move into their existing home, and so there actually is an addition. So usually the part where new residents end up paying or existing residents end up paying the fee is when they build something brand new within the community. If you stay within an existing home or you buy an existing home as a new place to live, all of that is not included in the impact fee. So it's really for new construction that this applies to.
Because when you buy an existing home, you're not generating a building permit.
Correct. So there is no impact fee for existing home sales.
Mm-hmm. You got something?
Just for the record, make sure just the public knows that we reviewed this thoroughly a year ago. We delayed this portion until LTIP was completed. So this isn't just a quick presentation. We actually went through the whole impact fee study. That's correct. A year ago with several work studies. Yeah.
That was in December of 2024. So that work session and all is available for viewing on our website.
So just thought it was kind of important to note.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly too, like you said, a lot of it was cleanup to bring the dates current.
Yeah, it's more housekeeping stuff. Again, but we didn't want to have it where you look at your document, you're like, well, chapter 4 is newer than chapters 2 and 3. So this whole document is brought forward to you again so that everything is on the same page and fresh. And so your 5-year clock will start over on all 3 categories once you get an effective date this time around.
Right. They'll be all on the same timeline going forward.
That's correct. Less confusion.
Now, based on recommendation of council today, they get it in May.
Correct.
And is it 3 readings?
It's 2 readings and a public hearing,
Okay. So it would be adopted in June.
unless there's some
Unless-
reason that council delays, yes.
Okay. All right.
I'll just add real quick to Frank's point on educating the public. I think the projects listed in here, like most folks in town, if you ask them where their traffic concerns are, they'd probably name the locations listed here. So these are specific improvements, identified through traffic analysis. There may not be a funding source for these otherwise, so this puts the responsibility on new development. So it kind of ties everything together. So I would encourage folks to read through this and get excited about it.
And the CIP, as Matt said, we did make an effort to make that more of a story, and it shows where the funding sources are for those projects. So that is helpful for the public to understand.
Right.
I'll just say sort of tongue-in-cheek, when I did get the LTIP 2, you open the appendix, I think it's 1,000 pages of analysis. I mean, this was analyzed, believe me, it was analyzed.
Very thorough.
Yes.
And we went from, if Randy's here, if I'm not mistaken, we went from the worst. We started out with the worst locations that needed improvements and worked our way down, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. All righty. Anybody got any other questions, comments?
And I will say for any public that's interested, Randy did do a presentation on the LTIP 2.0 last month, so please reference that video and/or minutes if you're curious and want to educate yourself.
All righty. Motion?
Make a motion to move development impact fee update to phase 2 to council for recommendation to council, excuse me.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion, clarification, comments? All in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. That is it for this month. Training.
I hope to have an email out to you by the end of the month with a schedule for the remainder of the year.
Okay. All righty. Any other comments, Vice Chair? I can't believe that, but. We have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, I guess, in my
All right.
comment.
Without any reservation, we are adjourned. Thank you for watching the Town of Lexington Planning Commission. Commission members are unable to encourage an outside communication regarding agenda items. If you have additional questions following the meeting, please contact the municipal clerk. With no objection, this meeting is adjourned. The Town of Lexington Planning Commission and staff wish you a good day.